Part one is going to be just talking about primarily the TSGLAmount function and kind of taking that apart and understanding what its arguments are and how to use them. I'm going to start with a quick tour where we're not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about the individual arguments, but we're just going to get a flavor for starting to build a report and then dropping in this function and seeing it return a result. Then we'll take a step back through it, looking at it in more detail, and talk about what all we can do with that in terms of what all the different arguments support. Okay, so I want to use this slide as my cue to jump out of the PowerPoint and jump into Excel. Okay, so I'll start with something fairly simple here. I'm going to say that we want a plot for a fiscal year. Period. And I'm going to then also put in just a spot here for a few base accounts. And I'll come back to this as we get further into this as well. I'm going to use, in this case, just ordinary Office Connector query to provide me with the titles for those accounts, so I don't have to type them. But the main point here is that with just Office Connector financials, you have the tools to bring in the values. Everything else could simply be static. So your account lists, account numbers, account titles even, that could all just be static data in your worksheet. I will be showing an example in a moment of providing a list of base accounts using a query. And that's not really required, it's just convenient in this case because I don't want to type them all. Okay, so I'm going to look up the title for my base account using this value in cell A5. I notice I'm not spending a whole lot of time talking about this. This is kind of content that we would ordinarily cover as part of just regular beginner training for Office Connector querying. There's my list of accounts, and let's say I want fiscal year 2013, May, and I want company 10. So the way to drop in a financial value is, again, I go up here to the Office Connector toolbar. I click on that function selector button, and I locate my TSGLAmount function right here. And again, there's lots of documentation in the content area that explains what all the different arguments mean. And we're going to be stepping through those in detail here in just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and click on Insert. And now what I'm seeing is the standard Excel function arguments window where I can plug in values for those different arguments. So for the prefixes argument, I'm going to select that. Now notice I kind of did that sleight of hand there. When I clicked on it, it put in B3. If I were to finish this formula here in cell C5 and copy it down, well, I know, that's a relative cell reference. So if you don't use Excel a lot, just keep it in mind. B3 then becomes B4, and then B5. So I always want it to be B3, though. That should be a fixed location. F4 on your keyboard cycles you through the different absolute cell reference options. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm just making that absolute, so it's always B3. The base account is going to be A5, leaving the row relative, fiscal year B1, and period is B2. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just click OK at this point. And we can see that it already pulls in a value. And if I just copy that down, then it pulls in the value for those individual accounts then as well. And if I change the period, I get the the value should have a period. If I change the prefix to blank, I get consolidation of all prefixes. Okay. So that's basically how that works. So again, the function TSGLAmount just works like any other Excel function, in that if I change one of the other cells that it depends on, that causes that to recalculate, and I get the appropriate values.